actually think it's one of the most delicious of the insects. I've tried all kinds of insects, professionally and recreationally. I like to say my life's mission is to breed a bug that tastes like bacon. I think these guys are as close as you can get directly. Mealworms, it's only been a couple decades that we've had them being produced at any kind of scale. Think about all the things that we do with corn or soy or one of these base ingredients. We found ways to take that ingredient and turn it into thousands of different types of products. Protein in general is the big challenge in food because people want more protein in their diets. Protein's expensive, and so insects are a really important missing piece of the food system. I mean, we don't talk enough about how much these guys are a superfood, but I would say insects are definitely a superfood. Super nutrient dense, just a whole lot of nutrition in a really small package.
We're in the middle of a biodiversity mass extinction, and we're in the middle of a climate crisis, and yet we somehow need to feed a growing population at the same time. We have to make change, and we have to make big change.
Insects have been a traditional food source in Southeast Asian countries, African countries, and Central American countries for centuries, for millennia. So for them, insects are a traditional delicatessen. And of course, there will be also some areas where it's more like one of the only protein source, so it's more like for necessity, but it's rare in the sense that we can find some markets in Thailand where insects are more expensive than meat.
Eating insects isn't a new thing, and it's all over the world. And currently, even while we're still trying to push for the normalization of insects more broadly as ingredients, they are part of a lot of cultures' dishes. So in Cambodia, there's ants, and you'll have things like spiced grasshoppers in Japan. You'll have like the mopani or sago grub in South America, which is such a staple macro and micronutrient source. I've always loved anything with black ants because they have such a unique like lemon pepper zest flavor.
Insects have been a part of human diets since the beginning of time, but we just have never had a good infrastructure. It's mostly been like wild harvested insects or insects that are cultivated on a small scale.
We feel that insects are just one part of the answer because basically they're very, very efficient in converting their feed into food for us. So 12 to 25 times more efficient than cattle, say, to produce the same amount of protein.
They're a natural part of animal diets. It makes sense that they would be part of the food system. We just haven't developed the technology to grow them yet. And so that's what we've been doing, is figuring out how to do this at scale for the food system. There's a lot of interest in insects as an ingredient. We're at the very beginning of an exciting phase of growth for the insect industry.
When we started a few years ago to investigate Western consumer and the global north, for us, insects is not food. I mean, we associate insects with everything but food. I mean, with dirt, danger, with something disgust, with something that makes us feel sick. Is this one of the main reasons why we don't eat insects? I mean, we do not consider it as food.
Looking at it from a chef's point of view, it's all about getting a good idea but making it taste good. Because at the end of the day, you might have the healthiest, most nutritional, most sustainable product, but unless it tastes nice and people are willing to accept it, it may be a lot more difficult to get that across to people. So immediately, I started to use insects as an ingredient. So rather than sprinkling whole insects on a salad, which you can still do, there's nothing wrong with that. But I thought if we're going to really get it accepted into mainstream food culture, the best way is to incorporate it as a percentage of the overall whole product.
From our research, what we can say is that processed insect foods, that's more feasible than consuming insects rather than peanuts as a snack.
Kids are amazing, and like they are the future of bugs because they're not as inundated with the social norms and the cultural conditioning.
Insects are a really good conversation starter, not just about the fact they're healthy or they taste good or they're a completely new, innovative type of food. It's that they can really engage our food culture and our diets, and that's something we really encourage people to do, is to think about the amount of meat we're eating, but not just meat, where does it come from, and to think, we can't eat meat for every meal every day, but still enjoy it. Don't feel guilty, but just to help, reduce that reliance on everyday meat eating.